It's a happy, happy, happy day.
Don't you ever do that again.
Hello everyone. Today will be full of demons and angels because we're giving our review of the first 4 episodes of Hazbin Hotel. Yeah! If you've never heard of the show before, go check out our previous video. We do a recap of the pilot and provide some very amazing fan art if I do say so myself. I will be prefacing this video with a trigger warning for a very brief discussion of these topics, so if you're not comfortable listening, feel free to skip out. Now into the video, because it's a very, very happy day. It starts with Saudi. Episode 1 is called Overture. The official description for this episode is the angels attend a meeting and listen to Charlie's proposal while the gang make a commercial for the hotel. I'm just gonna give a quick recap of the entire episode. First, we find out that hell was created by Lucifer and Lilith, which are essentially fallen angels, and they are Charlie's parents, and she hasn't seen her mom in 7 years. Alistair shows them a commercial, and they don't like it, so Charlie gets a call from her dad. She sings a song about it being a great day because he set up a meeting for her to meet with Adam, who is the first man, but he's like in angel form now. While Charlie is gone, the B plot is that they try remaking the commercial and it doesn't go very well. And then Alistair decides to help them remake the commercial. He wasn't going to help the first time. However, he will as long as he isn't asked to be a part of the TV thing anymore. I think has to do with his relationship with Vox, but... And then Charlie comes back, she's sad because her hotel project didn't go well, and at the end, when they're about to show her the new commercial, that one of the angels was killed who came down for extermination. And this has never happened before, and they're also moving the extermination date. Instead of like a whole year, they're doing it in the next 6 months. So the 2 songs are Happy Day in Hell, and then the second one is Hell Forever, which is again with Charlie and Adam. So overall, this was an interesting first episode. They definitely bank on the fact that you've watched the pilot. The way it jumps in is Alistair presenting this commercial. In the pilot, we know why he's making that commercial. Like, obviously he says why they're doing it in the commercial, but it's still unclear if you have not watched the pilot.
I think the other episodes are better. It wasn't filler, because obviously we find out important information.
It was it didn't really stand out. In terms of songs, like, we've obviously gotten a way step up from the first pilot.
Yeah, production quality is much better.
Way better. The songs are actually pretty good. There's certain songs that we don't really like as much, and we'll get into that, but I feel like these were pretty good. Charlie's voice actor for singing was changed, and I'm so glad they did that.
If you're gonna have a musical show,
do Broadway
the people
singers
in it need to be able to sing.
Or if they don't, then you gotta get a second voice to do the singing.
Which they do. People do that.
Yeah, which is
that's
literally
a thing that's
perfectly
done all
fine.
the time.
Yeah. Also, the fact that Alex Brightman is like 70 different characters. He sings for Adam's voice, which is so a wild pick because it doesn't sound anything like the regular voice actor. They got him on a contract. They got him on a contract. Lock and chain to this franchise. Okay, now on to episode 2. Episode 2 is called Radio Killed the Video Star, and I don't mind this title, I'm not gonna lie. I don't really either. It's kind of cheesy, corny, but it makes sense for the episode. This one's official description is the V's are made aware of Alistair's return after a 7-year absence while an old foe seeks him out for revenge. Basically, the sinners are freaking out because the next extermination is coming up, and Charlie's like, oh, we should recruit people. Then Sir Pinchas is introduced, which if you've watched the pilot, you know who he is. He's like that snake guy. Vox is introduced. Like, we get a lot of character introductions this episode. So Vox is another big demon in hell. He's basically like Alistair, but TV version. Quite literally, actually. Personalities differ very slightly because Alistair's like old-timey.
Literally old money, new money.
Yeah, old money, new money. And he owns this company called Vox Tech. And then Velvet is also introduced, who is like a fashion designer, I think. Valentino is introduced as well, and he's Angel Dust's pimp. Basically, like, he owns an adult film studio.
Was he in the pilot?
No.
He wasn't in the pilot?
Mentioned. I'm pretty sure he was just mentioned. He was only an addict.
But we know him because of addicts.
Yeah,
right.
Valentino is very mad at Angel Dust because he's working Charlie now. So Velvet, Vox, and Valentino are known as the V's. Vox is like, oh, you're telling me that Alistair has come back and working with Charlie. Alistair is like his biggest rival, and we get a song about that. And then Sir Pinchas... Yeah, it actually is really good. It's called Stayed Gone. Yeah, you can go look it up.
I actually like it. Like,
I
have listened to it multiple times.
And it's like, okay, this works. Sir Pinchas is recruited by the V's to be a man on the inside because they're like, oh, if Alistair gets close to Charlie, then he can get up to Lucifer, which would be bad because you don't want to make a deal with the devil. We also get a view into Valentino's abuse towards Angel Dust. Then we get a final song where Charlie is teaching Sir Pinches how to say sorry.
It starts with sorry.
And overall, this episode was pretty good. There was a lot of introductions for characters, but I feel like it was pretty solid. Good songs.
Yeah. Overall plot was kind of like it was
easier
like
to follow.
I'm following.
Yeah.
I'm like entertained.
Yeah.
There are things going on, but there's not so much going on that it's like a baby sensory video.
Yeah, and there wasn't like too little going on either. So I feel like this is a pretty good episode.
Now into episode 3. This one is called Scrambled Eggs. So the official recap for this episode is Baggy's put into charge of teaching the hotel guests and employees about trust while Alistair attends an important meeting with the overlords. It starts with Sir Pinches, who's moved into the hotel, but he's still paranoid and also showing like evil tendencies. Charlie's like, okay, we gotta fix that. Baggy is assisted to help make him better again, I guess. And the first thing she has to do is get rid of his egg boys, which they are called egg boys. So she tells Alistair to get rid of them. And so that's like the B plot of this episode. So Charlie tells Baggy that she needs to lead these trust exercises to all the residents in the Hazbin Hotel. Literally the 4 people there. But we find that Baggy has this like internal struggle with being a leader. Alistair's trying to get rid of the egg boys. He goes on a walk and we find this character named Zestial. He seems to also be a demon with a lot of power. And so him and Alistair go to this meeting with other, quote, big league hell sovereign overlords.
Actually, one of the worst parts of the whole
Yes,
show
this meeting is probably the worst executed
Definitely
portion.
the weakest.
Yes.
The weakest.
execution.
We are also introduced in this meeting to another character named Carmilla, and she runs the meeting, and it seems like her and Zestial have a thing, or at least really care about each other. Velvet comes back into this episode, and she shows up at the meeting, comes with the head of the angel that died, that we learned from the previous episodes, and is like, okay, if this angel's dead, that means we can fight back, show that we have power, and end this whole feud that's happening. But Carmilla does not like that, and then we get a song called Respectless, which is basically the song is literally just what I said before, but happens again in the song form.
Except Six the musical
Is also at play.
Is at play.
During the song, Camilla is talking about how she's against the war. And so then after that, we go, this meeting's over. That segment ends, and then we go over to Charlie, and her and Baggy are talking to each other, and Baggy is kind of like pushing her away, being like, oh, I don't know if I can do this. I don't think I can do these trust exercises. I just feel like I'm making everything worse and it's not helping. And Charlie's like, no, you are a leader. Like, you do so much for me. But Baggy doesn't believe her. And then we transition to a song that is called Whatever It Takes. And it's basically Carmilla and Baggy talking about how they just want to keep their loved ones safe and they would do anything for them. Which I think it's interesting that we're doing a song with Baggy and Carmilla parallel, as if we really know
As if we know anything about these characters.
Or honestly, even Baggy, we don't know that much about her.
No.
And so then after their song, we find that Alistair is leaving the meeting and he's talking to the egg boys and he's like, what did you learn? And the one that snuck in with him was like, I found out that Carmilla, or he says, the nice lady, killed the angel. And Alistair's like, that's very interesting, but don't tell anyone else. We also find out that Baggy's like one trust exercise thing actually worked. Now to episode 4. This episode is called Masquerade. This is the official recap. Angel Dust gets accused by Husk of being fake as he's overwhelmed both physically and mentally during his work. Basically, this entire episode focuses on Angel. The opening scene shows a very interesting adult film that Angel is showing to everyone in the hotel because it's like show and tell day apparently. And Husk is like, you're putting on a facade. Angel gets really upset by that, and then literally 2 seconds later his phone starts ringing and it's Valentino on the other end. Valentino's chewing him off on the other end. Like, we don't hear that part, but we hear Angel going like, oh, yes, Val, I'm right on my way. This like terrible Angel voice. I'm right on my way, Toots.
Right on my way, Toots.
Yeah. Charlie notices this and gets like worried because it's like Angel has to leave suddenly. And so Charlie's like, okay, I want Angel to be able to spend more time with us, so I'm gonna go to Valentino's studio and try to fix things. Which quickly goes downhill. Charlie creates a lot of commotion on the set while Angel is in the middle of filming. This leads to Val being upset because he's like, oh, you brought Charlie in to try getting out of your job. And Angel's like, no, this had nothing to do with me. She was working on her free will. But then Val ends up abusing Angel in the like dressing room and reminding him that he owns him. So now we know that that Angel's name is Anthony, and also that Valentino literally owns him. After the scene, Angel comes out of the room and Charlie sees him beat up and she's like, starts to blow up at Valentino, but then he quickly shuts that down. Oh no, Angel quickly shuts that down and is like, you have done too much. You're overstepping your boundary. I didn't ask for this. You're just making things worse. Leave. So then Charlie starts crying and then leaves. And while back at the hotel, we get a sequences right after Angel's done filming for the day. He comes back to the hotel and he's talking to Husk at the bar and he's like, just give me a drink, and he starts acting like his own like flirtatious self. And Husk is like, I still think you're fake. And Angel gets mad and storms off. Vaggie comes up and is like, what happened? Is everything okay? And then Charlie's there too again and is like, no, I made him mad earlier. Husk, you need to go check on him. So Husk goes to check on him. This is where we find that Angel has run off to a bar where he's almost taken advantage of, but Husk stops that.
Alarming.
Angel has a lot of alarming things that habits. And so Husk is like, I'm just going to
try to connect.
I'm going to try to connect with you right now. So then we get the song Loser Baby. And I forgot to mention, we also get Poison in this episode, which is more where we learn more about his Angel's abuse. And so this kind of is like a second parter to that. So Loser Baby, this is Husk singing to Angel Dust, loser baby, a loser. Husk is basically just trying to comfort Angel by saying, we all go through bad things, but you're not alone. And in this song, we also learned that Husk made a deal with Alistair. And then after their song, they make up and Charlie apologizes to Angel and he forgives her. And so now they're all one big happy family. But yeah, that whole episode basically just is focused on Angel, which is very interesting to us because he is an important character, but seemingly Charlie would be the main character of this show. So just throwing that out there, especially because this is the 4th episode of the 1st season where we're getting only an episode on Angel.
This is our space for
this is kind of our
opinions, thoughts, as if we haven't been giving them already enough. I think the animation it's
definitely really improved from the pilot.
It has. It's pretty good.
And yeah, overall it's not
in spots
too bad.
It's great.
Yeah.
In spots it's bad.
Yeah.
There are a lot of inconsistencies that I feel like I'm just kind of confused by.
Yeah.
It seems to fall into the same trap that Steven Universe did in a lot of its like filler episodes, where there seems to be not too much reference to character sheets.
Yes.
Because there's like height inconsistencies and like facial inconsistencies.
Which is,
that's
fine.
that
That's happens.
Fine. I do like that the songs are
I was gonna say
production
of the songs has gotten way better.
Yeah.
I don't love all of the songs, but I like
yeah,
two of them.
Yeah, the direction they're going for is
so that's better than none.
Yeah.
The character designs. Sometimes a character will come on screen. The design tells me nothing about it. Okay, the angels. I understand what they're going for and like the style of the show and the way that it is. And I get that the angels are evil. However, I don't think that they should look evil. They should look like the good guys.
Yeah.
And they can still be the bad guys.
I think that would just make for it more
They just look
interesting.
so similar to all the other demons. The only thing is that that's different is their color.
Like, I think it would
but like
provide,
Angel Dust is white and pink.
Yeah.
I think it would provide nice visual contrast because the show is so it's very connected to like Invader Zim, to where Invader Zim's like all very dark,
very much
and
see
angular,
the influence,
and all kind of one color. But with Hazbin Hotel, it's very similar. However, in Hazbin Hotel, a lot of the character designs are way more complex than Invader Zim ever did.
Why does every character have a bow tie?
No.
Why does every character have to have a bow tie?
I know, genuine question, is there a certain time period that's supposed to be set in? And I say that because, so Vox is a flat screen TV, so obviously it's sometime 2000s, but everyone has like a suit and a tie, which is very formal, and then also
and it's like,
I feel
okay,
like maybe
more
thinking
like
more old-timey, but if there's
like
TVs,
those demons
it's confused me.
Could have existed, like obviously Hell's been around for a long time.
Yeah.
So like those demons could have existed
years
in
ago,
how we
or
whatever
like
Alistair was allegedly around.
Yeah, it
that
makes sense for him to have
but
a suit.
like why does Vox also have a bow tie? Why does every character have a bow tie?
No, literally,
why does every
Charlie
character
has a bow tie.
Least favorite designs would probably be Vaggie's design. I really dislike that design. Try to say some constructive things about it other than I just don't like it.
I feel like her hair is interesting in terms of like giving back to a moth motif. I feel like the bow really throws me off personally.
Of the huge bow in the hair.
It also like doesn't really work
It
for her
doesn't make
personality.
sense for her character in my opinion at all. Like I was
but
thinking,
once again, we know nothing about her.
Right, we know nothing. But we do know that she, at least up front, is a very stern, aggressive person who is kind of negative. That doesn't correlate with
the big red
a
bow.
lot of her aspects of her design. Why would that character make that decision? I feel like if you're designing characters, you have to think, would this character consciously make this decision to dress this way?
Yeah.
Alistair is
I find him like kind of boring in terms of being
He's
such
so
like
unremarkable. Yeah.
Yeah. However, his more demon-like design that he pulls out in
The
second episode, I think is really intriguing. I do wish that it was a bit more like the facial structure would change too, because a lot of the times you'll see Alistair just like randomly smiling or like he blinks weird. And I think that makes sense if that's not his normal form, but I wish that his face would change to reflect that.
I feel like she could go like the deer route with his
I was
demon
gonna- she-
more, because she does push
even
it, which
with
is
her,
cool.
his normal form, it
Yeah.
could be more of the deer influence. There are just so many things about his design that confuse me. Why he has an undercut.
Once again with the time period.
What time period?
Because he's a
are we
radio
in?
demon, so you would think, okay, that's when radios were invented. That's his whole thing. We're gonna
Make him
change.
look like
But-
one of the there's a very distinct style about that time.
Yeah.
You could have made
Which
him
I think
look
that
like
Vivzie would know about. To mine,
I'm sure
like,
she does.
In episode 4 during Poison, there is explicit scenes shown of SA and worse. There should have been a trigger warning on the episode.
I was gonna say
There's certain things that will trigger people.
yes.
And I think if you're going to have a character who has that trauma, obviously it's important to tell that story, but at the very least we have to have a trigger warning.
If you haven't watched this episode, just know about halfway through the episode, there is very explicit scenes of like SA and abuse.
One quick thing I want to add, we were talking about the complexity of the characters. I think that the backgrounds also hurt how we view the characters, because even background characters are complex, and some of the backgrounds are good, but also some of the scenes are very complex. So everything, it's very visually busy, and so
Yes.
it kind of thinking back to your principles of art, or the elements of art, no, principles of art, the unity versus variety, extremely important. I think that it's just a little bit forgotten in some of the
there are so many. There are a
scenes.
lot of scenes that are like that handle it well.
Certain moments where they're handling the balance very well, seen especially in some of the songs like Loser Baby and Stayed Gone, those two very well play into the musicalness, having fun with it being a cartoon, like what you can do.
Yeah.
So they'll play around with like erasing the background, just having some simple things, which I think is really nice.
I think
that they're
it's
really well done.
Very effective.
Yeah.
Some of my favorite scenes
are from the songs.
are from these songs when Angel Dust and
Husk.
are it's like a
Neon
blank
lights.
background and they have neon lights above them, because that is simply but effectively communicating to the viewer something they have in common.
Yeah.
What they
The
have in common is like gambling
and then
and
the
like
nightlife, the whatever.
yes.
I know that the day this is going to be released, there'll be 2 more episodes. Episode 5 is going to be about Lucifer, or at least he's going to be introduced. I think he's coming to visit Charlie at the hotel. So I'm interested to see what Lucifer's personality is. Charlie is very naive and kind of childlike. She has a very childlike approach to fixing a lot of the problems.
Hopefully with this introduction of Lucifer, maybe we get some more backstory.
Yeah, I'm really interested to
why
see
she
that.
is, what Lucifer is like, because we
Yes.
don't know.
Also, I want to know a little bit more about the angels. I'm interested to
Where's
just find
God?
out more. On that. Yeah,
where's
is there
God?
God?
Is there a God?
Is there
There's a
God?
Lucifer, where's the God?
Yes, I'm interested to see if they're gonna
Charlie
lean
is
more into that
canonically
maybe.
in the Bible. Angel Dust
No.
is canonically in the Bible.